Today, we're diving deep into one of the world's great epics, Finland's national treasure, the Kalevala. Now, this isn't just a collection of stories. Oh no, it's this incredible, sprawling tapestry of magic, heroes, and a pretty wild creation mythology. And at the absolute heart of it all is a quest for one single, mythical object of unimaginable power, the Sampo.
I mean, just think about that for a second. What if there was a machine that could just churn out endless supplies of grain, endless salt, and endless gold? Not a treasure chest that you could empty, but a source, a fountain that never ever runs dry. What would you do to get your hands on that? And what would happen if you lost it? Well, that very question is the engine that drives this whole epic quest, a journey that begins not with a blaze of glory, but with total and utter despair.
You see, our story kicks off with a hero who's hit rock bottom. We find Finland's greatest champion, totally lost and alone in this place called Pohjola, the Northland. And you gotta picture this place. It's a realm of near-constant twilight, bitter cold, and it's ruled by a truly fearsome sorceress.
And that hero is Wainamoinen. He's this ancient, incredibly powerful singer, a kind of shaman whose songs can literally bend reality to his will. But, even magic has its limits. After a brutal ambush by a rival, he gets thrown into the merciless sea and just drifts for days. He finally washes up on the shore of this strange land, wounded, heartbroken, and just consumed by this deep, gnawing ache to get back home. He's just weeping there on the beach, a hero completely brought to his knees by fate.
And who do you think hears his cries? None other than Louhi, the mistress of the Northland. Now let's be clear, she is not some simple witch in a cottage. She's a queen, a powerful matriarch who commands the very elements of her grim country. So she hears this weeping hero, and in his desperation, well, she sees a golden opportunity.
So, a bargain is made. It's a pretty tempting offer, really. Louhi gives Wainamoinen food, a warm place to stay, and a guaranteed safe trip back to his beloved Kalevala. But her price is steep. And what's so fascinating is she asks for something that doesn't even exist yet. She basically says, "Can you forge for me the Sampo, this magical lid in many colors, from the tips of swan feathers, from the milk of a barren cow, from a single grain of barley, and the finest wool?" And Wainamoinen, with the cold sea still rattling his bones and his heart just breaking for home, he makes a promise that he himself has absolutely no way of keeping. That promise now hangs over Wainamoinen's head. He's bought his freedom, sure, but he's basically put the bill on someone else's tab. The weight of creating this impossible thing now falls on the shoulders of the one man in the entire world, maybe in the entire cosmos, who could actually pull it off.
And that person is Ilmarinen, the eternal forgeman. We're not talking about just a skilled blacksmith here. This is the guy who supposedly forged the dome of the sky itself. So when Wainamoinen gets home, he has to convince, or, well, let's be honest, trick Ilmarinen into making that dangerous journey to the dark Northland to fulfill his promise. And he does it by dangling the prospect of marrying Louhi's beautiful daughter.
So Ilmarinen gets to Pohjola and he gets to work. And this is no ordinary blacksmithing. He builds this massive forge and calls for all these magical ingredients: the tip of a swan's feather, a drop of milk, that single grain of barley, a tuft of wool. For days he just toils, pumping the bellows, stoking the fire. And at first these strange and terrible things emerge from the flames: a crossbow that thirsts for blood, a warship with a violent heart. He destroys each one, knowing they're flawed. Until finally, on the fourth day, a miracle is born.
The Sampo finally emerges from the fire. It's described as this kind of pillar or a mill with a brightly colored lid. It is, for all intents and purposes, a magical cornucopia. Just as the epic says, it grinds out everything a society could ever need to be prosperous. Flour to feed everyone, salt to preserve their food and to trade, and actual forged money to build wealth. It's a literal machine of infinite prosperity. Louhi is, well, she's beyond happy. She got exactly what she wanted. But she has zero intention of sharing its gifts. She immediately grabs the Sampo and has it carried away into a vault deep inside a copper mountain. She fastens it down with 9 enormous, heavy locks and magically sets its roots to grow deep into the earth, anchoring its power exclusively to her land. The source of all wealth now belongs to the North, and to her alone. And just like that, years pass. With this engine of infinite wealth locked away in the North, the entire world is thrown out of balance. That bargain Wainamoinen made in a moment of weakness has created this massive inequality, and the heroes of Kalevala eventually realize that this injustice just can't be allowed to continue. The time for creation is over. Now the time for a reckoning has begun.
You see, the effect of the Sampo is just profound. Pohjola becomes this land of constant feasting and riches. Their barns are overflowing, their people are wealthy beyond imagination. But meanwhile, Kalevala, the land of heroes, is struggling. The very wellspring of prosperity has been hoarded by one ruler in one dark corner of the world. Wainamoinen finally understands that his desperate bargain has come at a terrible cost to his own people, and that mistake has to be fixed.
And so, a team comes together. You've got Wainamoinen, the wise leader whose mistake started this whole mess. You have Ilmarinen, the creator, who feels like he has a personal right to the thing that he made with his own two hands. And joining them is Lemminkainen, a handsome, reckless, hot-headed warrior who is always up for a fight. Together, they are the brains, the skill, and the muscle of the operation.
Their plan is as simple as it is daring. A direct assault. They outfit a warship and set sail right back to those cold shores of Pohjola. The mission isn't to conquer or destroy. Nope, it's to pull off a grand heist, to liberate the Sampo and bring its blessings back home where they belong.
Okay, so this is it. This is the absolute climax of the entire epic. The heroes actually managed to pull off the heist, but, as you can imagine, escaping with the greatest treasure in the world awakens a kind of magical fury that's just off the charts. What happens next is one of the most spectacular magical battles you will ever read. So they get to Pohjola. Wainamoinen pulls out his kantele, his magical harp, and he plays a song so hauntingly beautiful and powerful that it puts every single person in Pohjola into a deep, deep sleep. The heroes sneak to the Copper Mountain, they break the 9 locks, and they literally uproot the Sampo from the earth. They lug it to their ship and set sail for home. But you can't keep a sorceress like Louhi down for long. She wakes up, discovers the Sampo is gone, and her fury is absolute.
First, Louhi summons this thick, impenetrable fog to stop their ship in its tracks. Then, she calls up a great sea monster to attack them. But our heroes manage to fight them off. So completely enraged, Louhi takes matters into her own hands. She transforms herself into a monstrous eagle, just vast and terrifying with talons made of iron. She puts her entire army on her back and takes to the sky. She attacks the ship, grappling with the mast, and this desperate, chaotic battle erupts right there on the deck. And in the middle of all that chaos, the Sampo is knocked from Wainamoinen's hands. It falls into the sea and shatters into a million pieces on the rocks below.
And that's it. The object of this great, epic quest is destroyed. It really seems like a total failure for everyone involved. The heroes have lost their prize, and Louhi has lost her source of power for good. But the story of the Sampo doesn't actually end with its destruction. In fact, this is its final and, you could argue, its most important transformation. Because what happens next distributes fate in a really interesting way. The larger, more valuable pieces of the shattered Sampo are carried by the currents and the waves to the shores of Kalevala. They embed themselves in the beaches and in the soil, granting the land this enduring fertility, good fortune, and a bounty from the sea. Wainamoinen is overjoyed. But all Louhi is left with are the tiny, worthless fragments and the useless colored lid, which bring nothing but poverty and barrenness to her cold, dark land.
So, in the end, the magic wasn't lost. It was just dispersed. The concentrated, hoarded power of the Sampo was this source of conflict and imbalance. But shattered, its blessings were finally shared. For the Finnish people, this story became this profound myth explaining their own natural riches. That the wealth of their land wasn't just a gift from a god, but something born from the fragments of a magical struggle, and it's now part of the very fabric of their world.
The quest to possess the Sampo as a single object failed, completely. But in that failure, a much greater victory was won. The essence of prosperity was finally freed from its prison in that Copper Mountain, and it was given freely to the people and to the land. The artifact itself was destroyed, but you could say its purpose was finally truly fulfilled. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? The story of the Sampo is this timeless epic of creation, of greed, of incredible conflict. But at its heart, it's asking us to think about what wealth really is. Is it something to be forged and hoarded by the powerful for their own gain? Or is its true value only realized when it's broken apart and shared among everyone, becoming a common good, a blessing for the many instead of just the few?